Hello, fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian's Sudoku Puzzle. It's Monday the 13th of November 2023. I hope you are keeping well. If you think that 13 is an unlucky number and Monday is an unlucky day because it's the first day of the working week, I guess you're pretty sad today, but never mind. None of that is factually accurate. Another thing that is not factually accurate is that stop and search reduces crime. It has now been proved with evidence that stop and search does not work. It's such a typical old reactionary policy as well. Of course, right-wing governments have introduced it. In particular here, we're talking about the Tories in the UK that introduced stop and search, Boris Johnson's idea back in 2019. And it has been proved that it does not work with an arrest rate over the last 20 years where it's been actually monitored of 0.5%, which is, of course, ridiculously low statistic, virtually zero, negligible, of course. But of course, the reactionaries will continue to bring out such stupid ideas over and over again in their desperate attempt to try to find a solution to crime, which is much deeper and needs much further investigation into society, not just what's on the surface. But of course, we all want simplistic solutions, don't we? It reminds me of a pilot I saw once of where hardened criminals went into juvenile detention places, or where young people boys actually, had been picked up for minor and petty offences, and they thought that they could be scared into never doing that by hardened criminals who were convincing them that a life behind bars was terrible. Though this one might seem, a common sense, I'm doing air quotes here, a common sense approach might think, oh, maybe that could work, whereby horrible people explain about the horrible life behind bars. It's not attractive. It's not, something to be desired. It's in fact a terrible thing. But the study actually proved that it didn't work. Over the years, in fact, the statistics went the other way. When they checked the control group, I don't have the study to hand or anything like that, but I do remember the basic information that when they checked the control group against those who had been lectured to, in fact, the group that had been lectured to actually ended up reoffending more often than the group that hadn't, that was in the control group. And so it just simply doesn't work. So, new, fresh ideas, not same old reactionary stuff, is what's needed. Okay, this is the beginner's level Sudoku puzzle on Monday. If you are new to the channel, welcome. You're wondering why I'm talking about societal or political events. That's because that's what I do on this channel. It's not only Sudoku, it's also a chat channel as well. Whatever appears to be on my mind for any particular day. So welcome. And if you can't stand the chat, well, get out of the kitchen. Is that the... No, I'm not sure what the idiom is. But anyway, let's get on and explain the rules of Sudoku to newcomers. So there are 9 squares in this row across. There are 9 squares in this row across. There are indeed 9 squares in every row across. Some of the squares have digits in. You can see there's a 6 and a 4 here and a 9 and 8 here. And some of the cells are... cells mean squares, are completely empty. Look, here's a completely pristine line of clean white. What do? We put numbers 1 to 9 in each of the boxes. Now, since there are exactly 9 squares, we can put in the numbers 1 to 9 in one place, and it means that numbers must not be repeated. We do exactly the same thing for the columns. You can see there are 9 squares in each column. This column already has 2, 8, and 5, so we don't need to find those numbers. We need to find all of the other numbers. This column already has a 3. We're looking for 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 3 we have already. But wait, he says, we're not quite finished, because there are these small 3x3 blocks that I've highlighted in blue. Look, here's another one, and there are in fact 9 of these blocks, and they also must contain the digits 1 to 9 and only once. Okay, So how do we go about finding the answer? We use logic. Let's examine this first block over here. Now we have 1, 6 and 4 in these squares, so we don't need to look for anything in those squares, but we're looking in the other empty squares that I've highlighted in blue. What we're going to look for is an 8. Now when you click on the 8s, or if you look at the 8s that surround this particular block, we can see there's an 8 down here, there's another 8 here, there's another 8 here. So what we need to do is consider that the number can appear once only in its row, column or block. So what do we mean? This 8 is already in this row here, so there can't be another 8 here. This 8 is in this row, there can't be another 8 here. Right? So it means that these 4 squares are immediately eliminated in this block. We have an 8 in this column. It means that 8 can't reappear in this column, and so this square here can't possibly be 8. We are left with just one empty square, and so we know that the 8 must go there. If you understood that, you now know how to play Sudoku. That's basically all you need. You just other varieties of that. So isn't that going to be boring, you say? Occasionally, if the game is too easy, or maybe if the game is impossibly difficult, it might be boring, but generally it's not, and it's rather a satisfying thing to fill in all the digits. Rather like completing a jigsaw puzzle, I suppose, although much nicer than a jigsaw, I think. We have 1s blocking up here. I use the term blocking, meaning the 1 cannot reappear in this column or this column, and we have 1 in this row. So that stops that square from becoming a 1. So again, we're limited to just this square here that can have digit 1 in it. You getting the idea now? Okay. So what do? We have to look around the grid and look for things that we can find. Okay, so here's another idea. This column here, row here, I should say, has only 3 empty squares. So we look to see what we have. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. So what we don't have are 5, 7, and 9. We don't have 5, we don't have 7, and we don't have 9. I want to consider the 7. Now we ask ourselves, in this square here, can we place a 7? And the answer should be no, because we have a 7 here. And how about this square here? Can we place a 7 here? And your answer should be no, because we already have a 7 in this block. So that means 7 can't go here, and it can't go here, but we need it in this row. So that means there's, again, only one possibility for the 7 to go, and it has to be in that square there. Right, again, now we're missing 5 and 9 for these 2 squares. Now, let's consider the 5. Do we know about the 5? No, we don't. Can a 5 go here? Yes. So 5 could appear in either of those 2 squares, so we don't know. How about the 9? Can a 9 go here? Possibly. Don't see any reason why not. Can a 9 go here, though? And hopefully you will say, no, of course not, because we have a 9 in this block already. So this can't be 9. That must be the 9. And now there's only one number left, which will be our 5. Okay, now we'll take that digit that we just found, our 5, and we'll block it up to the top here. We'll say it blocks up to the top, and we have 5 blocking across here, and now we can see there's only one square to get the 5 in here. Now a moment ago, before we put the 5 in, we wouldn't know that, but we can see it now. Okay, so as you play the game, some of your options become a bit more limited, and hopefully there will be fewer and fewer places for you to place digits. Let's go along this row here and see what we're missing. We're missing 2, 3, and 7. 2, 3, and 7. Okay, so I want to look at this square here. Now we ask ourselves, could it be 2? Possibly. Could it be 3? Oh, no, it definitely can't be 3. And could it be 7? No, it can't be 7. So if it's not 3 and 7, and there was only 2, 3, and 7 allowed, we know that it's got to be a 2, hasn't it? Now, we've still got 3 and 7 to place along here. Now, hopefully you're ahead of me, and you've seen that 7 blocks that square, and you know that the 7 is going to be there, and the 3 is going to finish the row there. Were you ahead of me? Good. Now what? I don't know, because I haven't looked I don't play these games ahead of time. I actually have no idea, so it does take me a little while sometimes to work out what's going on. Should I tell you about that? No. Since it's an easy level game, I don't want to tell you about anything that's too difficult. So we have 3 blocking up here and 3 blocking up here, and that will give me a 3 in that square there. And we have 3 blocking across here, which put 3 into that square there. Now, okay, the 3 and the 6 both block up here, and we don't have 3 or 6 in this block yet. So we know that 3 and 6 are not allowed in these 2 squares. So we know that 3 and 6 are in those squares there. Now, does that help us? Well, it may or may not, but it's something I've seen anyway. So this is 3 and 6. So what we know is that if that's 3 and 6, this has to be 2 or 9. Did it help? Yes, because you understand. Okay, this is, again, I'll say it again, this is 3 or 6 because 3 and 6 block up here, right? So then if that's 3 or 6, these 2 squares can only contain 2 or 9. So we know that 2 is either here or here, but we don't know where it is, but it's in one of those 2 squares. So whether it's in this square or this square is unimportant for the moment, because it will block down whichever one of those 2 squares it appears in, and this 2 will block down here, and so we can get our 2 there. If that was too quick for you, just have another look at it. Rewind the video and check it out again. Okay, so we did get a number there. Now our 8 blocks down here, which will put an 8 into this block here, and now there's only one number left to complete the whole series. We've got 1, 2, 3. We don't have a 4, so we know that the 4 goes there. We'll take that 4, say 4 blocking up here, 4 blocking down there will give us 4 in that square. Now we can say 4 across here, 4 down. You see how we're leading you along the path, putting in these digits, and then you can find the next one. You can find the next one depending on what you've found. We've also got 1 blocking up here and 1 blocking down there, which will give us a 1 in that square there. Right, now where should we go next on our little sojourn around? We can see a 1 actually across the top and 1 up here, which will give us a 1 in that square. 1 down here, 1 up here, 1 across these 2 rows. And there is the final digit 1. When I say the final digit 1, what I mean is we already have a 1 in every one of these blocks, every row, every column, if you check it out. So there are no more digit 1s to find on this grid. We don't need to concern ourselves with digit 1 any longer. But what do we need instead? So I'm searching desperately for the moment to see what's going on. And I will be with you in just a tick. Where are you? You're there somewhere. Yeah, so let's come back and remind ourselves of this 3 and 6 that block up here, right? So if you remember, we put 3 and 6 into those 2 squares there. So if 6 appears in this square or 6 appears in this square, it's got to block across there. And so that will be our 6. Now our 7 blocks up to the top here, which gives me a 7 there. And this will be a 4 to complete. Our 4 blocks down here and across here gives us a 4 in that square there. Then the 4's going up here and across and down and across here means that we can place our 4 there, and that's the final digit 4. 1 and 4 are now finished. We have 8 blocking across here, which gives me an 8 in this square. What are we left with over here? So the missing digits here are 2 and 6, I believe. So 6 blocks down here. So that's our 6, and this would be a 2. 7 blocks down here, that gives me a 7 in this square, and we can finish here with a 5. There's only one more number left to get in this column. It's a 2. And the 2 blocks across here like this with the 2's up here, so this will be a 2. Now if you've got a good memory, you might remember what this is. We did work it out before. We worked out that it was a 9 because we had our 3 and 6 blocking up here, and that gave us 3 and 6 there. So this was 2 and 9. But you may have forgotten that, but it doesn't matter if you've forgotten, because you can see that, just work it out again. So if you do forget these things, just rework it out again. So that's the 9 there. Now this 9 blocks across here and gives us a 9. Now, I have a really bad memory. Regulars to this channel know how really bad my memory is, so I often have to go back and work it out again. Things that I worked out before, I've just forgotten now. 7 blocks up here, there's a 7, and this will be a 5 in this square. Right, not a lot more to go now. We can see the 3 numbers that go here or here. Shall we do that? Let's have a look. What are we looking for here? We're looking for 2, 5 and 6. Is that any help there? We've got a 2 there, we've got a 6 there, so no, not really. Missing numbers here are going to be 3, 8 and 9 in those squares. So yes, that is helpful. Okay, so these squares, to complete this column, we need 3, 8 and 9. And what we can see is that 3 and 8 are in the same row. And so that is going to be the location for our 9. Now, in this row, we still need 5 and 6. We've got 5 blocking up there, so this can't be a 5. This must be our 5. And this must be our 6 to complete the row. Now, 6 blocks down here, giving me the 6 here. And the missing number here is 9. So we've done a lot now. There's just these 2 squares up here and this stuff in the middle. Now our 6 blocks up here, so that gives me a 6 in that square, and it was a 3 that we need to finish here. Right, so let's have a quick look and see what's missing from this column. We don't yet have 5. Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's look. It will be quicker if we don't do that. It will be quicker if we looked across. Oh, we've got this single digit missing here. That's what we need to find next, because that will give us a clue and finish off the puzzle. It's a 7. We don't have 7 in this column, so let's put in the 7. That will finish the game. 7 across here and 7 up here means that that's a 7. And now we've only got 1 square missing here, which is a 5. So 5 there. Now this 5 goes across here and 5 blocks up there. And there's a 5. This has been rather a nice game, actually. It's kind of led us along a nice path all the way in. Quite good for demonstrating beginner level Sudoku. This is a 9. 9 blocks across here. And this is a 9. One more number to go here for this column or this block. It's the same number. It's a 3. 3 blocks across here and 3 up here will give us 3 in that square. I don't know why a car is beeping. Alarm, I suppose. And the missing digit here is an 8. And now the 8 blocks across here and gives us an 8 in this square. It's all swinging backwards and forwards, isn't it? This will be a 2. 2 blocks across here. Here's our 2. and a 6 will finish the game. So that's our easy level, or beginner level puzzle if you prefer, game from The Guardian. Quite a rather enjoyable easy level puzzle that one was, I thought. I'll be back with some more difficult Sudoku later in the game. You can check out lots of other easy games on this channel. Bye bye.